After the Broncos dominated first quarter and a half, Kansas City starting to find some plays that work, and Marcus Allen's running a couple of rushes, a first down and a touchdown. What are they doing differently, Phil?
Well, they're doing what all teams should do. They're going to the strength of their offense. That's Tim Grunhard, the center, Dave Shield. Run the football inside where you have a chance to block the defenders.
Going with two tight ends, Walker and Tony Gonzalez, and this one is headed for Andre Rison. Incomplete. Ray Crockett is called for interference.
And this is called, they call this penalty because Ray Crockett impedes the progress of the wide receiver going down the field. This is one that will always get called.
Number 39 on the defense. First down.
The one thing that Crockett's complaining about is he's saying, well, now watch what Crockett does. We talk about impeding right here.
He cuts in front.
All right, cuts in front. Now what? Here's where he's mad now, because now he's looking back at the ball. Well, he's saying, well, I didn't do anything. You're not doing anything there. You did it before.
Slowed him down. That's right, Paul. Exactly.
24 yards on the interference penalty. First and goal, Kansas City. And now in the final 2 minutes, the Chiefs have a chance to take the lead before halftime. That is remarkable considering what we saw the first quarter and a half. And it's Marcus Allen trying to slither his way sidewise through that hole. Gets to the 5.
It's like getting beat in a fight for 14 rounds, and then 10 seconds before it's over, you know, you knock the other guy out. I mean, that's the Broncos have physically dominated this game the whole first half until this last couple minutes, and could be trailing at halftime.
Well, and what I would like to see, something you mentioned a couple of plays ago, if you're going to run against the Denver Broncos, you might as well take it between the two guards in the center and get in the middle of the field. Don't stretch these guys out. They're too fast.
Rison to the left. And Allen in motion. The backfield empty. Gannon. Scrambling. Touchdown. Danon Hughes. Receiver from Iowa, only his 7th catch this year, his 2nd touchdown. So Vanover's punt return of 17, the penalty to Crockett of 24 yards on interference, and now Stoyanovich to give Kansas City the lead, 14-13.
The one thing about that defense, Phil, is when Kansas City came out of the huddle, the Denver Broncos were running all over the place.
Well, watch what happens. Danon Hughes, he's in the slot. He's going to run inside. He sees the scramble, breaks back outside. And with Rich Gannon, this is what he brings to this offense. There's nobody open. But immediately he sees, I got some room to run. The receivers, they know we got a running quarterback. Break your routes. Easy touchdown.
Rich Gannon's first touchdown of the season, starting last week at Jacksonville, losing 24-10 and getting beaten up pretty well in the process. The former Crew star in high school in Philadelphia has his first TD pass of the year.
Let me tell you, this guy is the perfect backup to have on an NFL team. He's experienced. He's been a starter for quite a few games. He can move around very well, so he can change the tempo of a game when he comes in, and he respects the starting quarterback, doesn't get in his way.
1 minute, 8 seconds left for Denver as the Broncos, after a 13-0 start, trail 14-13. Denver has 1 timeout. The kick by Stoyanovich, Devon Hebron fighting the sun. Through at the 25, 35, and out across the 40-yard line. Good return for the Broncos. Hebron of 36 yards. Joe Horn made the tackle, so John Elway, with 1 minute and a second, has a chance to pull out some of his magic.
Well, you know, when you say John Elway with 1 minute and a second, it's like an hour.
Oh, it is.
And he only has 1 timeout. But I don't know of anyone in the National Football League in quarterback history. And you did a hell of a job, but you did. But I'm just talking about this guy. He can do a job on you.
Well, the talent, the play calling by the Broncos, that really helps John Elway too, and he takes advantage of it.
8 men on the line of scrimmage. The give is to Terrell Davis, being chased from behind, and makes another 15-yard run to the Kansas City 43. Make it 17 yards as they spot it.
Well, the safest way to start the hurry-up offense is play the draw out of the shotgun, and Terrell Davis, if he doesn't lose his balance, he's going to run for about 20 more yards.
110 yards in the first half for Davis. Clock running, 34, 33. Throw to Ron Smith, heads to the sidelines, first down at the 30. Stop the clock, 29 seconds left. Clyde Johnson, the closest defender.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't care when you're in a situation like this with John Elway. Now they're down to 29 seconds. They still have that one timeout, and they probably will have it for a long period of time as long as John Elway's in the ballgame. But you cannot give him the time to throw the football. So you've got to sacrifice something.
We'll get that Domino's Pizza ready for the NFL on NBC halftime report. Messrs. Gumbel, Collinsworth, and White's New York studios with all the highlight scores from the early games today. Coming up, halftime. First down at the Kansas City 30, trailing 14-13. Terrell Davis. That's an interesting play. A little quick pitch outside didn't work at all. And did Davis get out of bounds? No, they have to use the timeout as Jerome Woods and Clyde Johnson from the secondary made the play. And Elway now without a timeout. 23 seconds left. And at the moment, a field goal would be around 48, 49 yards.
Well, that's why they ran the ball. They had the timeout, trying to catch the Chiefs off guard. Almost did catch them, caught a blitz coming, but so many people, the Broncos couldn't block them off.
And they did that play, it really was an interesting play, because if they get Terrell Davis to the outside and he can run with the ball, the most important thing is, can he get him to the sidelines? If he can't run the ball, but the Kansas City Chiefs defense did a great job of keeping him in bounds.
You look at Gary Kubiak, who is attached to Elway in more ways than coordinator and quarterback. Kubiak was in the same draft, that great '83 quarterback draft out of Texas A&M. He was something like 200th pick. He said, I went to my first practice with Elway and ran home and called my wife and said, I'm coming home. I'm not good enough to play this league after seeing Elway. To avoid the sack, throws it to the sidelines. Is that, yep, they're going to throw the flag. He was not outside the tackles, intentionally grounding, and that pretty much takes away the chance of a field goal.
Oh, wait. They're calling roughing the passer.
No, that's intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding, yes.
Anthony Davis, perhaps jibing.
Well, actually, Dick, just to clarify something, he's definitely in the pocket, and it's where the tight end would be. It's not just where the tackle would be, where even if there's not a tight end, it's outside that. So John Elway definitely in the pocket, trying to avoid the sack.
Intentional grounding.
See, the one thing about it is that when the play, when you're
10-yard penalty, it also includes a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 8 seconds, please.
The other thing about it, when you're showing that replay from behind, Phil, is where the tackles are, not where they move to. The tackles are out here. See, now when Elway comes out, watch where he goes. You'll see Zimmerman 65 come inside. Now Elway does not get outside of that tackle, so it's intentional grounding.
I know, but it's just to clarify, it's tight end to tight end, just like there would be two tight ends. That's the rule. It's not the tackle. We all talk it. It's to the tight end.
Well, so fourth down and something like 22 or so, but they run 10 seconds off the clock, so only 8 seconds remain, and make that third down. And they are going to try a field goal after all. We thought they might go for the long pass in the end zone, but out is Jason Elam. He will spot the ball at the 50. This would be a 60-yard field goal. The longest he's ever kicked is 56 yards. 53-yarder this year. In fact, he's 3 for 3 from 50 and beyond. There's a little wind, not much, at his back. 60-yard attempt.
The ball has not been traveling well today, though. On kickoffs, it must be frozen. Awfully hard.
It's on line, but it is short. It's the E and Chiefs. 1 second, and now no time showing on the clock. That'll be the end of the half. This cold weather, it's been freezing all the night down into the teens, and that ball just not traveling, as Phil pointed out. It was straight, but well short. The Broncos start with a 13-0 lead, and then Kansas City with 14 unanswered points. Marcus Allen with a touchdown.
There was 1 second. There was 1 second, Dick. You were absolutely right, and they ran it off the clock, and then the clock is held by someone here in Kansas City, but the official time is kept on the field, so you understand it. The official did not run the clock down. There still is a second for them to throw the ball.
And Kansas City gets the ball at the 50-yard line on the missed field goal, so they have a chance for the long pass tip drill here at the end of the half.
I loved your truth.
Yeah, the players are in the locker room. They're bringing him back out. There's Marcus Spears. Hey, he's playing. We need a tackle. Look, they're yelling for him.
Here he comes.
Now they come sprinting on the field. You know, those linemen, they can't wait to get in there at halftime. Got to adjust all that equipment.
To do what?
Well, you know, blow their nose, do some things like that. I don't know.
I love true play-by-play by Dick Enberg. The ball landed on the E.
That's right. In chefs.
Yeah, but this is important. They get the ball, they get a chance for one play, a defensive penalty, or if they get lucky, the tip ball to themselves.
Gannon, plenty of time to wind up and fire. He parachutes one high to the 5, tipped and intercepted by Darian Gordon. And Gordon had thoughts of doing something himself, but he's corralled at the 22-yard line. Gordon with his third interception of the season to end this first half. So here at Arrowhead Stadium, the Kansas City fans excited. They lead 14-13. We go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day.
Those of you who have been watching the action in Kansas City, welcome to our studios in New York, along with Sam Weiss and Chris Collinsworth. I'm Greg Gumbel. Let's run down the scores, and we'll start with the game that you are watching. Not a bad football game in Kansas City. The Chiefs with a 1-point lead on the Denver Broncos. Neil Smith spent 9 years as a Chief, making his return to Arrowhead Stadium. 3-0 Denver in the first. John Elway rolls to his right and casts off deep for Rod Smith. This is just a great catch for a 43-yard pickup. A roughing the passer penalty on the play gives Denver a 1st and goal at the 9. 2 plays later, Elway to Shannon Sharp. This is another terrific catch. Sharp makes the 5-yard reception for the touchdown, and the Broncos lead by a score of 10-0. Denver 98 yards in 7 plays. They led 13-0 in the second, and Tamarick Vanover's kickoff return got him going 77 yards, and Marcus Allen 6 yards up the middle, 118th rushing touchdown of his career, 13-7 Broncos. Just over a minute left in the first half. Rich Gannon 5 yards to Danon Hughes, Gannon's first touchdown pass of the season, and the Chiefs at halftime with a 1-point lead, Sam, on the Broncos.
Well, you know, special teams, coaches preach it all the time, are a big part of the game. Tamarick Vanover's return, setting up field position. Of course, when Marcus Allen, down 13-0, scores and gets them back into the ball game, they've done exactly what they wanted to do, make this a second-half game where Kansas City has, in the last 6 games, not given up 1 touchdown.
And, you know, I talked to Kansas City's offensive coordinator before this game, Paul Hackett, and I asked him about the play of Rich Gannon, and he said that Rich came up after the game and said, you know what, Coach, what I didn't do in this game was move around enough, use my mobility, and make some plays. Today we're seeing him do that a lot more.
All right, guys, in Kansas City, that game is a 1-point difference. Now, in Tampa, the Buccaneers with a 10-point lead on the New England Patriots at halftime. Tony Dungy is trying to get the Bucs their first 500 season in 15 years. A win guarantees that. The Bucs held the Patriots without a first down in their first 4 possessions. Brad Culpepper sacking Drew Bledsoe, loss of 10. 3rd and goal inside the 1. Eric Redd appears to be stopped, but watch the second effort. The touchdown caps a 13-play, 80-yard drive, and the Bucs went up 7-0. 4th and goal at the 1 in the second quarter. Dilfer, play action. Can't find an open receiver. Throws it away as the Patriots hold, and the Patriots are trailing the Tampa Bay Bucs at this point by a score of 10-0. This is a great day for the Bucs defense so far.
It's absolutely amazing. You know, if this were a fight, they would have stopped this one long ago. Tampa Bay is dominating this New England offense like nothing I've seen this entire season. 27 yards of offense from New England so far in this first half. It has been total domination. The only amazing thing is the fact that the score is just 10-0.
All right, in Indianapolis, don't ask the Green Bay Packers how they're doing. They are leading the Indianapolis Colts by a score of 27-24, but it has been an awful day for the Packers. They just pulled ahead of the Colts, but Dorsey Levens has 3 touchdown passes. The Colts playing like anything but an 0-10 team. Miserable day for the Minnesota Vikings in Detroit, where the Lions are leading the Vikes by a score of 17-7. The Vikings are at 8-2, and the Lions come in at 4-6. In Pittsburgh, at halftime, the Steelers with just 2 field goals. Sam Weiss said the Bengals would play the Steelers tough today. They have.
Chris, you and I have been there, done that, played in this stadium right there. It's going to be a tough game all the way through it. But, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers right now with Cordell Stewart scrambling around and Jerome Bettis with that little cut on his hand from a paintball game. I don't understand that one. But this one, if they were in Cincinnati, you'd be hearing him go, boomer, boomer, because Jeff Blake's really not having a strong game.
I just want to correct one thing. Sam said in the pregame that they would win. The Bengals would win. Yeah. So we just want to get the record straight here.
It's close, isn't it?
The hits just keep on coming. In Jacksonville, the Jaguars with a 7-3 lead on the Tennessee Oilers in a low-scoring game. Tom Coughlin and the Jaguars tough at home. They've won 11 in a row in Jacksonville. In the second quarter, Mark Brunell over the middle to Keenan McCardle, 17 yards and a touchdown. Brunell's 12th touchdown pass of the season. The Jaguars at 7-3 are leading it by a score of 7-3. At the Meadowlands, the New York Giants with a 10-point lead on the Arizona Cardinals at halftime. In New Orleans, the Saints trail the Seahawks at halftime by a 10-7 score. Dennis Erickson and his Seahawks looking for their 5th win in 6 games. 3-0 Seattle on the second. Heath Schuler's pass intended for Eric Gilford, picked off by Darrell Williams and returned 44 yards for the touchdown to boost Seattle's lead to 10-0. Kyle Richardson, signed by Seattle this week, fumbles a snap on the punt. Chris Hewitt recovers for the Saints at the 33. 12 plays later, Ray Zellers from the 1-yard line, and the Saints close the gap to 10-7. That's where they stand now, 10-7 in favor of the Seahawks. In Baltimore, the Ravens with a 7-0 lead on the Philadelphia Eagles, and in St. Louis, Tony Banks has just thrown a touchdown pass of 1 yard to pull to within 3 points of the Atlanta Falcons in a battle of 2-8 teams. It's 10-7 Falcons. When we come back, Chris and Sam will offer prediction on who's going to the Super Bowl. They will also name their players and coaches of the year in each conference, and we'll get to all of that right after these words from your local station.
Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Domino's, delivering a million smiles a day.
Welcome back to our studios in New York, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Sam Weish and Chris Collinsworth. And let's get some predictions from our expert analysts. At the beginning of the season, Chris picked Green Bay and Denver to go to the Super Bowl and Green Bay to win it all. Are you standing by your pick?
Yes. Barely. Green Bay has to get a little offense going in order for me to feel really good about it, but I think they will eventually.
All right. Sam liked Green Bay and Denver as well. You changing that at all?
I'm jumping ship big time. I'm going right to San Francisco. I just think they're playing better. Steve Young's playing beautifully. San Francisco and Denver.
All right. Let's get the picks for Player of the Year in each conference. And we'll begin in the AFC. The nominees are Terrell Davis of Denver, the league's leading rusher. Warren Moon, who's played so well for Seattle this season. Jerome Bettis, who has carried the Steelers on offense, and the guy who's done it on defense for Pittsburgh, Carnell Lake. And finally, Bruce Smith of the Buffalo Bills having another terrific season. Who's it going to be, Sam?
We have some great debates here, but I'm going with Terrell Davis. I think he's not only a fine running back, but he's the most important running back to his particular team.
I agree. I think Terrell Davis, to have made the team with Mike Shanahan and John Elway into a running football team, that's almost amazing. I'll take Terrell.
He's become John Elway's best friend.
Boy, has he ever.
Now, let's move to the NFC Player of the Year, and here are the nominees there. We begin with the 2-time league MVP, Brett Favre of Green Bay. How about Brad Johnson, who is having a great year for the Vikings? Steve Young of the San Francisco 49ers. His teammate, Dana Stubblefield, the league leader in sacks, and the NFC's leading rusher in Barry Sanders. Anytime you talk about the best players in the league, you have to include Barry Sanders. What do you think?
Well, the San Francisco 49ers have been winning with defense all season long. When Bryant Young went out on that defensive line, Dana Stubblefield just got better. He's my MVP.
You know, an offensive guy late in life is turning to the defense and trying to win some favors there.
Hey,
Sam.
Buttering up to people. I'm going with the 49ers, but the other side of the ball, Steve Young. I just think after that opening loss of Jerry Rice, and of course his injury, he's kept that team together on the offense.
All right, what about picks for Coach of the Year now? We start in the AFC. There are so many candidates. You get Bill Parcells and Mike Shanahan and Tom Coughlin and Jimmy Johnson, Bill Cowher, Marty Schottenheimer. You can go on and on.
Yeah, but I'm going to stop with Bill Cowher. Here's a guy that has been in the playoffs 5 straight years, is headed for his 6th straight, changed at the quarterback position with Cordell Stewart, remade the defense, a new defensive coordinator. I think what he's done in Pittsburgh's been phenomenal.
Sam.
Well, he almost changed my mind right there, but I'm going with Tom Coughlin. A new team, putting it together, lost his quarterbacks early, kept winning. I just think he's done a tremendous job.
All right, for NFC Coach of the Year candidates, no lack of candidates there as well. Jim Fossil has done a terrific job. Mike Holmgren as usual. Dennis Green, Steve Mariucci. Who do you like?
I'm going with Tampa Bay's Tony Dungy. He's the guy that's had to overcome more previous mistakes than any other coach in the National Football League.
I know that one That hurt a little bit. This is my suck-up time. At the beginning of the year, I said Steve Mariucci being hired by the 49ers was a huge mistake by that organization, going outside of what had been so successful. He has proven me wrong. Great job.
All right, we will check back with you guys in a few months, see if their predictions have any merit whatsoever. Our NFL and NBC halftime activities continue.
Batman of them all is finally coming to your TV.
Who is
Batman? Val Kilmer.
You're trying to get under my cape, Doctor?
Nicole Kidman.
You are interesting.
Chris O'Donnell. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
Why can't you just die?
And Jim Carrey as
the Riddler.
The explosive network premiere. Batman Forever. Tonight at 8:30, 7:30 Central on NBC.
Now that's impressive.
A lot of industry experts told us that the passenger side was the best place to add a third door. We got still more advice insisting that the driver's side was the only logical choice. But as you can see, we let it all go right in one ear and out the other. Introducing the new Dodge Ram Quad Cab. The rules have changed.
Dave Weber, the Channel 6 News.
Yes, that's me, Joe Phillips. You've seen me as part of my team, Kansas City Chiefs. And if you watch the NFL United Way TV spots, you've seen me and my family as part of the NFL United Way team, rallying the whole community to help renovate and repair housing for shut-ins and people who are dependent on help from volunteers.
In that program, we found not only people who needed help, but the great spirit of giving and caring that exists among all the volunteers who want to help.
As part of the fundraising campaign this year, Cynthia and I are very proud to have an impact on the problem. United Way's fundraising is very successful because it ensures your contribution works here in your community to make it a better community for all of us.
We feel that those dollars are well used and that the agencies understand.
That spirit of teamwork gives us the power to make our dreams for a better community a reality.
We're proud to be part of the NFL United Way team. The NFL, the United Way, and you. The power of teamwork.
Next Saturday, Autry Denson leads the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in their final home appearance of the year as they host the Mountaineers of West Virginia. Then, the world's best 3-on-3 players strut their stuff against NBA legends of yesterday and WNBA stars of today in Hoop It Up's Court of Dreams. All next Saturday on NBC.
And we welcome you back to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Dick Enberg with Phil Simms, Paul McGuire, and Jim Gray. It's 14-13 at the half, and the Broncos will get the ball first. Halftime statistics, Coors Light halftime statistics. You see the time of possession almost 2-1 in favor of Denver. They dominated totally the first quarter and most of the early parts of the second period. Terrell Davis has 108 yards. That's 14 more than the entire Kansas City offense, and yet the Chiefs lead 14-13. Tamarick Vanover's kickoff return and punt return, certainly key elements in the Chiefs' comeback. Stoyanovich kicks it off. It's very short, high, taken by Chamberlain, the tight end, and he protects the ball as he's tackled at the 28-yard line. Now, this is a puzzling game. When you look at how it's played, it's hard to believe that Kansas City leads the game.
Well, it's a great point in that first half. It comes down to something we never pay enough attention to, special teams. That's why Kansas City is leading this game. They created field position twice, so good that their offense was able to score.
When you look at it, the Kansas City Chiefs could not do a thing offensively or defensively until Tamarick Vanover runs the ball back and puts it in a position to score, and they say, now we're back in the ballgame. That's all it takes.
John Elway, touchdown pass to Shannon Sharp in the first half. Brings Smith in motion. He has a spectacular catch. A reverse to Smith, who has to give some ground and some more ground, and is tackled by Derek Thomas. A flag down. Thomas might have gotten a piece of the face mask, and that's bad luck for Thomas, as he had recorded the big loss, and now with the penalty, the Broncos will get yardage, and Marty Schottenheimer battling for his side.
Derek Thomas does a great job.
Roughing the face mask, major penalty. Number 58, On the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
But Von Booker is the guy that really makes this play work for the defense of Kansas City. This is after the play. Von Booker forces this play to go deep backwards, and Derek Thomas is there with the face mask.
Well, this is one of those plays. Watch Derek Thomas. Just holds on to the face mask a little too long. That's why it's 15 yards. You go in halftime and you say, Kansas City's over pursuing. Let's run the reverse. Well, they weren't over pursuing the first play of the second half.
So instead of a 13-yard loss, the penalty gives Denver a first down out at the 31-yard line, and Terrell Davis no yardage on his first carry of the second half. Jim?
All right, Dick. Well, I talked to Mike Shanahan. He said he was very happy with the first half, everything except for the score. He says we play that well in the second half, we should win the game. Now, as for Marty Schottenheimer, very happy that his team fought back. He told him, hey, guys, we're going to have to play much better in the second half if we're to win. He also reminded his defense, he said, guys, we're going to need a strong performance in the second half like we've had from you all year. Last 6 games, Dick, they've only given up 12 points in the second half. Dick?
All right, thanks, Jim. And Marty Schottenheimer said we need to be as physical as we've ever been to beat Denver. There's the crowd created. Full start as Tony Jones pulled off his stance.
Full start, number 77, offense.
I love Tony Jones when he sets up. First he sets up, then he tries to get set again, and like I'm not conspicuous. Watch this. Now watch when he pulls back. Watch what he does. Here he is. Now what? I'm gonna sit. Now let me just sit here for a secin. Now I'm not conspicuous now.
Yeah, but when you get 320 going backwards, you know you can't even stop it, so you have to take it up a step.
Little flinch in the defensive line. Vaughn Booker of Kansas City helped Jones to react. 2nd and 15. They show blitz. Anthony Davis right into the play. Davis into Terrell Davis. And Davis on Davis for the loss. Kansas City linebacker picked the right hole.
Where does the neutral zone start? Look at number 50 in the middle of this defense. That's Anthony Davis. Now, is he leaning across? It's just a great play. He gets in the backfield. They have too many people, not enough people to block.
Anthony Davis, who played in Utah, was a late pick by Houston in '92 at the 11th round. 301st player selected. Very fast. Grew up a Cowboys fan, and he corralled Terrell Davis. And it's now 3rd and 18. Shotgun Elway. Gets away from the blitz, and then it's sacked at the 16-yard line. The 4th Kansas City sack. It's Davis again.
They're just overpowering now the Denver offensive line, and in all situations of the run, they can't be blocked. In every passing situation, the last 4 or 5, they're just getting up the field. Watch the line pressure. Everybody getting penetration. John Elway, nowhere to go. Dan Williams, the old Bronco, brings him down.
Dan Williams was the man who flushed him out, got a piece of him, and Anthony Davis finished the job. As Hanover now. Then over at the 37-yard line. Ball not been playing well. Ruins punt. A wobbler. Little short. Ran over at the 40. And flags go down as Vanover tackled at the 41-yard line. A 43-yard punt. 1 on the return. And it would appear a penalty against Kansas City. John Mobley made the tackle.
You know, this is a classic example. You're looking at Vanover. Dick, is the call was to run the return to the left-hand side of the field.
Block in the back, above the waist, number 49 on the return team.
He was caught.
10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
On the right-hand side of the field and couldn't get back.
Tony Richardson with a penalty. Kansas City with a ball for the first time, second half.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Fidelity Investments, where 12 million investors put their trust. And by Castrol Syntec, the full synthetic motor oil that protects in ways other oils can't.
78,000 here at Kansas City. Now, there are fans of old-time football. That's what you used to do even when you didn't wear a helmet.
You know, it's serious. We did that without helmets. These guys put a helmet on to bang heads. That's no challenge there.
Yeah, but they were just kind of remembering the good old days. Rich Gannon back to pass after that penalty. too long as he looks for Andre Rison. Ray Crockett covering. Well, that was a big call on that kickoff return to push the Chiefs back to the 28 when they were out around the 40.
Oh, it always is. Anytime an offense gets up near midfield, the 40-yard line, you know, it's amazing what it does to you. You feel good. You got a positive approach to what you're doing. And really what you are, you're one play away from getting into scoring territory.
2nd and 10 for Gannon. Donnell Bennett is running back. Now Anders comes in after Bennett played on first down. A rare carry for Anders. And he's out to the 33-yard line where Gordon and Atwater in the secondary for Denver make the tackle.
One other thing about that punt return, though, and I mentioned as we were going to commercial, is that Vanover, when he caught the ball, so the return was to the left of the field. He caught it on the right-hand side of the field. It was basically his fault. I mean, the clip is not his fault, but he's got to take the ball over there, knowing he can't get back to the left-hand side, and got to take it up as far as he can, get what he can on the punt return. It almost sets up a clip.
3rd down and a long 5. Gannon scrambles off of Williams, gets him from behind, able to scramble for a yard or so. No sack, so no first down. The punter Aguiar on, and Darian Gordon, who is playing defensively, to get a feel for where he should line up to return the punt, will look to the sidelines where Tom Ruin and Jason Elam will help him line up, pick the spot, and they've said about the 25-yard line. That's based on how the ball is traveling and to get him in the right position. Now, he's been playing defensive corner, has to hurry back there, wants to be in the right spot. Aguiar, one block, sends a high kick short. Gordon, short catch at the 30-yard line. Not giving him any chance to return that one after the double touchdowns a week ago.
No return.
Thanks for the truck, Dad.
What'd you do?
Not much.
Where'd you go?
Kurt's?
You still talking about moving that old barn?
No.
The best long-term quality of any full-size pickup belongs to Chevy.
Had a scratch?
No.
Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
You stink! Get off the stage! Your mother's an iguana.
Hey, my mother's half iguana.
I'm sorry. I meant no disrespect.
If it were a guy's world, this would be your 9 to 5. Having kids wouldn't slow you down a bit. And you'd be so cool, you'd never sweat. But in the real world, guys sweat 40% more than women. Guys need the protection of Speed Stick Antiperspirant. Protection from sweat and odor that never quits. In this world, or the world where every day is Saturday, Speed Stick. Protection just for the guys.
Frankie, let me ask you a question.
Yeah?
These frogs, do they really taste like chicken?
I'm not answering that.
I'm just curious.
Stop it.
Come on, it's barbecue season. Would you marinate them? Would you slow cook them? We could toss them over a salad.
Tuesday, an all-new Frasier on a wild cruise. Niles dallies in the galley and gets caught.
Maris. She did ask me to give you a message.
Yes.
When you're dealing with Maris, you just never know.
Oh, wait. I see her coat on the hat rack.
Is the hat rack moving?
Oh, my God!
Frasier, NBC Tuesday.
In case you're just joining us, the Broncos jumped out to a 13-0 lead, and the Chiefs in the second quarter, a pair of touchdowns to lead at 14-13. Look at how Denver began this game. They just were overpowering. 203 yards, 13 points, and 3 drives. But since the adjustments defensively by Kansas City, have totally shut out Denver.
Dick, that is right. Kansas City made some adjustments. They changed their defense. Now they're doing a lot more hitting and reacting instead of just trying to fire back there and creating those big holes for Denver's offensive line and running backs.
That last series doing a lot more blitzing. Terrell Davis. He'll quiet the crowd Out to the 38-yard line, a gain of about 8 as Jerome Woods makes the stop. Jim Gray.
All right, Dick. Well, the communication system that's been installed in each of the helmets of the quarterbacks is not working for the Broncos and John Elway. Jeff Lewis had been sending in the plays. It broke down in the first half. They've just abandoned it totally here in the second half. They'll either run a player in with the plays or use hand signals. Dick?
All right, that was the case. Gary Kubiak sending in the substitute with the call.
And you know what? They probably haven't worked on their hand signals as much as you normally would, because you just don't expect those communicating system in their helmet to go down.
2nd and 2 for Elway. Terrell Davis spins out to the 40-yard line. It'll be close to a first down. Time for an update. To New York we go.
All right, Dick, in Tampa, ask the Bucks what's for lunch. They'll probably say the New England Patriots. This is Trent Dilfer to Dave Moore, 7 yards and a touchdown. 3rd straight week. Moore has caught a touchdown pass. 17-0. Tampa over New England in the 3rd, Dick.
And Trent Dilfer 18 for 23 in that game.
Now, Trent Dilfer can throw what I call that straight ball. I mean, you give him an open line between him and the receiver. Now, he'll stick it in there. Not the greatest touch, but has a good, powerful arm.
It was a first down. Davis now with 115 yards in the game rushing. Elway throws incomplete. Rod Smith, who made the spectacular catch in the second quarter, unable to twist around and snag that one.
This is probably about as conservative play calling I've ever seen from the Denver Broncos. Rod Smith, he's open. John Elway trying to anticipate, throws it to the outside shoulder. Rod Smith can't make the adjustment.
You know, Terrell Davis, in the first 3 series, you saw that 200-some yards, and mostly Terrell Davis carrying the football. And here they are. They came out here, and they ran 2 plays. He gets a first down. They go back on first down again and throw the ball. Is that just a changeup?
Well, you can't run it every single down. They're trying to catch the Kansas City defense off guard.
Terrell Davis breaks 3 tackles and then is crushed down at the 46-yard line, but he could have been stopped for a loss, and he picks up 6 yards on the carry.
This just shows you Terrell Davis's agility. I mean, this is an athlete. Watch the people. Carter, number 34, is the first guy that's going to miss. Now watch this move. Outside, he's stumbling. Carter at his feet. He's up. He misses, goes through another tackle, and then gets hit, picks up about 6 yards on the plate. Now that's just true athleticism.
Davis, 3 carries on this drive, and an incomplete pass by Elway. As the yards continue to rack up. Elway is racked up himself. Sack number 5. Fumble on the play. Donnie Edwards was the man who made the hit. They've whistled it dead, although Edwards is in the end zone.
You said something at the beginning of this game that Derek Thomas, this is a game that he has to step up, and he's the guy that's causing all of this.
Now they signal the fumble recovered by Kansas City. It took a while. Officials debated, and the sack and fumble. And Edwards recovers for the Chiefs at the 35-yard line. Make it the 36.
Donnie Edwards, Dan Williams hits him, makes the ball come out. It was a race to the quarterback. Everybody getting pressure that time. And maybe this is one of the reasons why Denver has been so conservative running the football, because when you get in obvious passing situations, the Chiefs have proven they can rush the quarterback.
So the 14-13 lead and the first turnover for the Chiefs at the 36. Greg Hill in the backfield now shifts out on the wing. Damon Hughes with a touchdown in motion. Gannon sees open territory, but he can't get away from Tonavasa. Tonavasa with a tackle. And it'll be a gain of, well, let's see where they spot it. Might be a sack for Tonavasa. No, they call it a gain.
Well, look at on the left-hand side. Do you see Derek Thomas come up? That forces Elway to really step up inside to the other linebackers.
Steps up, then Wayne Simmons, Terrell Davis blocking him. You know, the Kansas City likes those odds. When they can get Wayne Simmons, good pass rusher, on a running back, he should get by him.
Donnie Edwards, who had 4 forced fumbles prior to today, and played his football at UCLA. Second down. Call it a long 9. Gannon. Joe Horn, and a flag down as Horn is tackled at the 17. Only his second catch of the season. He gives Kansas City something Marty Schottenheimer says they have not had, and that is downfield speed.
They have some extra flags out there.
Holding against Denver. Holding.
Number 53 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
That's Bill Romanowski and the Chiefs. You know, this is after the play. He's still upset over. I guess he didn't get to hold him enough. So I'm gonna get you better. But Romanowski is excellent with his hands at the point of attack. One of the reasons why he can cover people down the field is because of that Joe Horn. They like his speed. He can separate from the defender, give the quarterback some area to throw the football into.
Played with Memphis in this Canadian League 2 years ago, did Horn. Gannon throws incomplete, intended for Tony Gonzalez. Romanowski on the coverage.
Well, I'll tell you what, you talked about this guy also at the beginning, Keith Traylor. This guy is coming up the field. They were about to slow him down. He hits Gannon just as Gannon's about to throw the football.
Traylor, who came into the league as a linebacker, drafted by Denver originally, and then migrated here to Kansas City and eventually be put on the weight to work at that tackle position, is now over 300 pounds. Marcus Spears in for Jeff Criswell at left tackle again. Give it to Kimball Anders. Anders trying to get outside. Can't make the corner as John Mobley, boy, he's got speed at 4.5 speed at that linebacker spot. Makes the tackle.
Well, he makes the tackle, but the guy you talked about earlier in this game, Steve Atwater, number 27, is the guy that's on the outside, and he's the safety. And he comes up inside. He almost got caught twice in this game that I've watched inside, but he's got enough quickness to get himself back outside, plus Mobley, number 51, helping out.
Rich Gannon has thrown sparingly, 5 for 10. A touchdown and an interception. The interception coming in the last play of the half, and he'll call time here. It's 3rd down and 9. Kansas City with a 14-13 lead.
I understand you got a bug problem.
Daddy! I want you to meet my friends.
Dad, phone call. Who's the IRS?
Sir, is this your son?
Hey, is this your dog?
Your life is full of worries. Your car shouldn't be. Get a Chevy Lumina. It's reliable, comfortable, and it's one less thing to worry about.
Sir, is this your house?
Heck, Lumina can even save you $1,000.
Sir?
So where is she?
Meeting with someone about her finances.
The chief financial officer needs financial help? From whom?
I think it's her life insurance agent.
Northwestern Mutual Life.
Can you send that? Okay. Bye. Okay, last time. You have your documents, passports, visas.
With the Creativity Imaging Center that can capture and send images.
Scared? This should help.
The new compact Presario 4800 series with Intel Pentium 2 processor can change the way you look at life.
Say hello to your new daughter.
The Presario 4800 series from Compaq.
Next Sunday on the NFL on NBC, a big doubleheader. The Dolphins, the Patriots, a showdown atop the AFC East. Marino and Miami face Bledsoe in New England. Then the Chargers, the 49ers. Young and the NFC West leaders host Seattle and San Diego. Or regional action, the NFL on NBC next Sunday.
Welcome back to Arrowhead. It's 3rd and 9 Kansas City at the Denver 16. Rich Gannon down the middle, incomplete. And a flag down. Tony Gonzalez, the tight end, was the intended receiver. And they've thrown the flag on the Bronco defender.
Alan Aldridge.
Did not turn and look for the ball.
Number 57 on the defense. First down.
Now the middle linebacker ticketed.
Well, Tony Gonzalez, what he does, he brings speed from the tight end position. The safeties are split. He just runs down the middle. Tough position. Boom, double move going down the field, and really excellent coverage. He just puts the hand on him, never turns around.
First and goal at the 1 after the penalty, and Marcus has the touchdown. His second today. Number 119 atop the rushing touchdown makers in the history of the league.
You know, I know it's only a yard, Dick, but I'll tell you what, when he gets in that area like third and short yardage, first and goal, whatever it is, I mean, he explodes.
He plays the situations very well. That's what you'd expect from a veteran running back.
Try for point. Stoyanovich. And it's 21-13. Well, they talk about a nose to the goal line. Allen with eyes for a touchdown. It's 21-13.
You've got this huge customer. They're so huge, sometimes they don't even know when they've received a shipment. Whose problem is this? Yours. That's why you ship UPS, because only UPS captures signatures electronically. Then you can use UPS online tracking software to see your customer's actual signature. So when they say, "We never got it," you can say not only did you get it, but you don't dot your I's. UPS Online. Are you connected yet?
Caitlin Keats, nature lover. She also loves the new interior of the Chevy S10. There's a lot to be said for the great indoors. Chevy S10, like a rock.
I'm Kenny, a friend of Dick's. Miller Lite has asked me to find 4 cheerleaders to send to the Super Bowl. Today you're going to meet Kelly from Dunkerton, Iowa. Kelly says her talent's working well with others.
Bow wow wow Miller Lite. Dance 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 Miller Lite. Squeaky squeak Miller Lite. It's really good.
Could Kelly be a cheerleader? Help us out. Participate where you buy and drink Miller Lite.
Today on the NFL on NBC, Denver's offense is on the run, but their go-to guy remains sharp.
I don't care if they got Deion Sanders on me. If I got one-on-one, and it's the 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 or 3rd and whatever, I know John Elway's going to throw me the football. I told John last week, I said, I might not be your number 1 receiver anymore, but I'm still your favorite.
Catch the NFL on NBC next Sunday.
Welcome back to Kansas City. Well, after the touchdown was scored, Mike Shanahan walked over to Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator, and told him, hey, let's not even argue with the official. They're upset with Richard Reels, the back judge, on the interference by Aldridge. He said it's such a bad call, they're not going to change their mind. It's not even worth wasting your breath. Dick?
All right, that set up the touchdown by Allen. Kickoff Stoyanovich. Vaughn Hebron finds a hole. Still on his feet and out to the 45-yard line. Finally tackled by Reggie Tongue. 38 on the return.
He was tackled by Reggie Tongue.
How about that interference call, Phil? What were your thoughts?
I think Jim Gray was right. The coaches are right. The pass, the receiver was covered the whole play. He had no chance to catch it. Alan Aldridge did not impede the progress of the receiver. Sometimes
he did put a hand up around the shoulder, but
it's late. The play is really over when he does it, and I just think it was, not a good call for Denver.
The injured player is Danon Hughes. Hughes with a touchdown catch earlier in the first half. Now, while we have a break here, let's go to New York for this report.
All right, Dick, at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, first touchdown of the day comes courtesy of Cordell Stewart on 3rd and 15, 20-yard scoring strike to Yancey Thigpen, and the Steelers hold a 13-3 lead on the Cincinnati Bengals, who are playing them tough late in the 3rd. Dick?
All right, Greg, and that Yancey Thigpen quietly is having a terrific season.
Well, he is in Cordell. We talked about him doing him, Phil. He's just getting better and better. Cordell Stewart and better.
Yeah, he seems to still be in I got to wait for the second half to play well.
There's the official that made the interference call, and Greg Robinson and Mike Shanahan offering their very serious thoughts.
Well, let me say, Alan Aldridge and the Denver defense on that play were in a perfect defense for that type of play for Tony Gonzalez to come up the seam. Everybody was in position. He had it covered, and that's the reason why I think it's got to be a no call.
best starting field position for Elway the entire game as he opens at his own 45. But the pass pressure has become pretty intense. He throws to Rod Smith, and Smith with a pickup of 14 before James Hasty can run him out of bounds at the 41 of the Chiefs.
Now I know why they throw on first down. This was a play they threw on first down a little while ago. Was on the other side of Rod Smith. They see something on the top side where he's open, Phil.
Well, they know he's going to be open this time. John Elway just waits and gathers himself for that extra half a second and delivers the ball to the chest of the wide receiver. Easy catch for Rod Smith.
And for 4 today, 47 to lead the Denver Broncos on the season. On the backfield, actually the tight end, rather, Dwayne Carswell. A rare opportunity for Carswell, the tight end from Liberty. He has his 9th catch.
Carswell caught the ball. 4 guys hit him, and then finally, number 59, Donnie Edwards, decides, I'll take the last little shot.
Oh, yeah.
He gets him, he drills him as he's going to the ground.
Now, this defense is young and fast and very aggressive, and Donnie Edwards, I think he summed it up well yesterday. He says, what we lack in the experience, we make up with enthusiasm. We're going to run around. We might make mistakes, but we're going to hit you.
At the 37, 2nd and 6. Shannon Sharp in motion, Terrell Davis. Swings outside. 3 defenders dragging down short of the first down at the 31. It'll be 3rd and 1. Terrell Davis already over the century mark, his 4th consecutive game with 100 yards or more. He's done it twice this year. He did it last year, and only 2 times in Denver history had that been accomplished. Bobby Humphrey in 90 and Otis Armstrong some 23 years ago. So Davis 3 times with 4 consecutive 100-yard games.
And we're in 4-down territory.
3rd down and closer to 2. They bring a crowd to the line of scrimmage. Elway tries to throw it and does to Ed McCaffrey. Somehow hangs on and gets the first down. What a play. The Stanford connection. Elway to McCaffrey. His first catch. Not much yardage, but enough for a first down when Elway looked as if he was going to be sacked.
Why are you shaking your head, Phil?
Because Eddie McCaffrey is really tough, and he is for a wide receiver. He comes across. Watch what happens. He gets beat by Derek Thomas. Then he's smart enough to know, let me get away in case John gets free. Jerome Woods lays the wood on him hard, but Big Eddie stays up and still makes the play.
And here comes Derek. Now watch this. He throws McCaffrey away. He's on Elway, and you're right about McCaffrey. I'm going to stay with it. Give John something to throw to.
But Elway showing his strength to have enough to throw the ball out there with a defender near McCaffrey. Elway throws incomplete to Willie Green, trying to make a sliding catch inside the Chiefs' 20.
Well, Eddie McCaffrey does so many little things for this team well. Dick, you said earlier he's a good blocker down the field. Mike Shanahan said he's the best he's ever seen. But that's what's important. He gets beat, and he had the presence of mind to look up for the football in case John Elway pulled away from Derek Thomas.
One other little thing. Did you see what he did when he was running with the ball? Knowing he's going to get hit, he moved it to the other hand where he's going to put the ball away from the guy tackling him. I mean, he does everything so well.
First catch in 2 games for McCaffrey, but it was a big one. 2nd and 10 at the 28. Elway down the middle to Sharp. Incomplete. Knocked down by Reggie Tung.
Well, that's just another example of the Denver Broncos, and you got a good player. Try to get the ball to the good player. And here's the Kansas City Chiefs outline. Look at all the routes that Shannon Sharp runs. He loves to go in the flats, and every once in a while when you give him man coverage, he's going to go deep. This is a 4-game breakdown by the Kansas City Chiefs coaches on Shannon Sharp, and man, that's a lot of hard work that goes into something like that.
Either that or that's a weather pattern off the Bahamas.
I thought that was the great reef out there in Australia. The depths, water depths. Boy, that is really getting down to the fine ball. Rod Smith fighting for a first down, doesn't get there. Tackled at the 20 by Jerome Woods. So they do that on every receiver. They mark their pass patterns for 4 games and try to get an idea of about where a particular player will go.
Well, key players. And then for the Broncos, it would have been Rod Smith and Shannon Sharp. And what it does, it gives the defensive players some ideas where the guy might run from certain situations or from certain spots on the field. It's a wonderful help to the defensive players. And that's why these coaches got to sit in these offices about 16 hours a day to figure these things out for the players.
38-yard attempt by Elam is solidly through, and it's 21-16. Kansas City with 4.5 left in the third.
AT&T, it's all within your reach, presents A Lineman's Dreams.
Football, the perfect game. But if I could change just one thing, I'd get to carry the ball. I've got moves. I could find the hole, follow my blockers. I can dance and strut and spike. Plus, who's gonna want to tackle me? Yeah, one day right before game time, they're gonna give me number 44, and I'm gonna run like the wind.
The AT&T One Rate plan has made long-distance prices simple. Whoa. Calls from home, a one low rate to anybody in America anytime.
What about those 10-3-2-1 ads that say I could save big over AT&T?
Most calls would cost less with AT&T One Rate.
Cost less?
Right.
I feel so used.
Hey, don't beat yourself up.
What about the big savings with 10-3-2-1?
Forget it if your calls aren't over 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
He's taking it really bad.
No restrictions, no games. The AT&T One Rate plan.
There's a medical emergency, but no hospital. What do? Build one. Leadership. Learn it now in the Army Reserve. Use it now in your career.
In yet another torture test, we drained the oil from this car and added just this much Castrol Syntec. We then ran it over 100 miles per hour and waited and waited. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. And if a little Syntec can protect under these conditions, imagine what a full oil change can do. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't. And now, try Castrol Syntec Power System, a new kind of fuel system treatment.
Shadows growing in this mid-November beautiful Sunday for football in Mid-America. As Gary Kubiak and Elway, they're looking through their 83 yearbook there to see who's got the better picture. Elam to Vanover. And flags fly. Mark Vanover at the 26-yard line. And speaking of penalties, you've heard of Mike Shanahan arguing those two interference calls have been critical, and indeed they have. That's Ray Crockett interfering. And then Dana Hughes, a 5-yard touchdown. And here's the Alan Aldridge penalty that Senator Marcus Allen scored. Now, the Crockett didn't look as if he'd done anything wrong, but he had been bumping 10 yards down the field. That appeared to be a solid
yeah, the first one,
call.
Definitely contact, probably for a good 15 yards. And what we saw at the end was the good part of it, I guess you'd say, for Ray Crockett. Didn't look that bad. But the other penalty is the one that's really got Denver upset. Down the field, they had the perfect defense on. They had him covered. Still resulted in a touchdown.
Illegal block on the kickoff return. So Rich Gannon starts at the 16-yard line with a 21-16 lead. Marcus Allen to the 19. Tanavasa makes the tackle.
Well, the one thing, Jim Gray was down on the sidelines and he overheard Mike Shanahan saying to the officials, say, look, let them play, let them score on their own. Don't you call a penalty and have them score. And then you see the kickoff return. There's 3 flags thrown. So they want to reach somebody.
Marcus Allen, as he goes back in the huddle, 29 yards rushing for the day, but a couple of touchdowns. Heisman Award winner how many decades ago at Southern Cal. Gannon off play action, way off the mark, looking for Andre Rison. The NFL season extends to World Wide Web on NFL.com, the league's official website. Visit NFL.com for all the scores, statistics, including a complete roundup of this weekend's scores in action. And you'll also get to chat with some of the NFL's biggest stars, all at NFL.com.
You know, you said earlier that the Kansas City Chiefs, after that first quarter and a half, adjusted their defense. Has Denver done the same?
Well, Denver, what I like they're doing, they are shutting out these Kansas City wide receivers. They cannot get any space between them and the defender to get Rich Gannon a place to throw the football.
Traylor almost offside, and Rich Gannon is sacked for the first time today at the 17-yard line. Ma'a Tanavasa and Alan Aldridge were there. For Tanavasa, this young man from Hawaii leads the Broncos coming in with 7.5 sacks on the season. And Bill Romanowski there as well, and he now is being credited with the sack.
Rock down about.
That's what MAA means.
Rock
in Samoan.
Phil and I know him as Rock.
267 pounds. Mike Shanahan says it's all motor. The man just keeps going, keeps working. That's why he's been successful as a defensive lineman.
So with a 5-point lead, it's Aguiar punting. Very high again to Gordon. Gonna gamble, and he's hit immediately by Greg Minuski. Minuski was the star in the special teams for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had a beat on him all the way.
You know, talking to Gordon yesterday about punt returning and who back there tells you when the fair catch and when not the fair catch. He said it's only feeling on my part. I'm the one that has to make the decision. I have to feel it. All of a sudden, watch this. You want to feel something? Feel this. Bonk me.
Oh. Well, you got to take a chance if you want to make a big play. That time he took a chance, and it didn't work out.
But that scores points with coaches. I mean, he's able to be aggressive. And those are the guys that will get you some touchdowns on returns. Flag down, false start against the Broncos.
Number 84.
Shannon Sharp with a twitch.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 84, offense. 5-yard penalty.
You'd have been a good
First
official,
down.
Paul. Why didn't you take up officiating?
I hated the shoes. I don't like the shoes.
Well, it's the stripes. They make you look heavy.
Well, you know, a lot of people say when you have stripes, you should be in jail.
There you go. At the 36-yard line, first down 15.
We just saw Gordon on the sidelines, and he had the flu yesterday. He wasn't feeling very good.
Plus, he got hit in the head on that last punt return.
McCaffrey, okay, he's back in the game to the bottom of your picture. Rod Smith to the left. Sharp lined up on the left side. Terrell Davis behind Elway. Quick throw. Sharp to the 48-yard. Noah Smith to the 48-yard line. As Rod Smith has his 5th catch. 12 more on that play to bring up 2nd and 3.
Well, that's like the 5th or 6th time he's throwing that pass out there to Smith.
Well, he knows Kansas City, a lot of people up inside to stop the run. Nobody underneath. That gives John Elway a nice lane to Rod Smith. Pretty easy completion for a quarterback, you know, of his caliber.
Mark McMillan made the tackle, the smallest defender in the entire NFL. 5'7" and 148 pounds. 2nd and short, Terrell Davis breaks a tackle, fights his way close to the sticks. And that appears to be good enough as they spot it for a first down at the Kansas City 47-yard line. 131 yards now for Terrell Davis.
Here is another guy, Dick, that you don't try to even think about arm tackling this guy. Watch Terrell Davis's feet. Once he makes a commitment to go upfield, his legs are moving all the time, gets the first down.
They spotted at the 48. Davis, another big game for the Broncos. Over 100 yards, 9 of the 11 played this season. To the sidelines, incomplete. James Hasty knocked it away from Shannon Sharp. From Kansas City, we go back to New York. Greg?